I think we're live. Good morning, everybody. My name's Josiah, also known as Chilling Silence, and today we're going to have some fun with DigiAssets. So, because I'm a sucker for punishment, and also because I'm coming down with a cold, and I've had a rough night's sleep, today could be a little bit interesting. Because I'm coming down with a cold, and I've had a rough night's sleep. I've also gone and I'm watching myself somewhere as well here. I've got it open on the other... Alright. Now that I've gone and stopped that from coming up. So today I want to talk about DigiAssets. We're going to have some fun. It's going to be a little bit kind of fly by the seat of our pants sort of thing, but I want to be able to send people some of their first DigiAssets. So I'm super excited about DigiAssets. Now you'll have to excuse me if I'm not sounding quite as excited as I could be because it's only 9 a.m. here on a Saturday. I'm not a morning person, haven't had a coffee, and I've been up all night feeling unwell. But I am so excited for DigiAssets. Now, there are so many awesome things that we could do with DigiAssets, and I want to go over some of those today. I also want to talk with you a little bit about what wallet support looks like, why it works, why it happens in certain ways, what it all does behind the scenes a little bit, and just kind of give you a good bit of insight into DigiAssets as a whole. So, I know we've got a few people here in the chat already. Let's have a quick look. We've also got some addresses. So, the idea, I suppose, is that if you have an Android application, you've got the DigiByte app for Android, send an address, post it in the chat, and I'll send you a DigiAsset. Now, this is obviously only for Android at the moment because iOS users, we unfortunately do not yet have support in the iOS app for DigiAssets. It's coming, don't worry. This is one of the things, actually, I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me quickly bring up some behind the scenes stuff. We'll go to the wiki here. Let me bring this up and I'll show you a little bit about what's been worked on lately. Nice, it looks like Nigel's been busy again here. So, if we go to the DigiByte wiki, what we can do is we can scroll all the way down here and let's go to the DigiByte application changelogs. Let's bring up Android and we'll also bring up iOS. So, we've just had a really big release for iOS. So we've got a bunch of things in here, everything from Dandelion and a whole bunch of other goodies, and our lead iOS developer's also been helping out a bunch with AutoCrypt as well. So thank you to Yoshi for everything that you do. You're amazing. Now, the flip side is that Noah has been working really hard on the Android app, and he's had this kind of 90% ready for the longest time, and somehow I managed to find ways of, I mean, I don't want to say breaking things because it makes it sound like there are bugs and bugs are bad. I'm just watching these addresses scroll past here. This is great. I'm going to have my work cut out for me. It's not that he's written bad code or anything, quite the opposite. The dude is amazing and he writes absolutely incredible stuff. But we keep finding new ways and new edge cases and new special ways of doing things that he's got to basically write support for, I guess, is probably the best way to describe this. So yeah, it's not so much that it is buggy in any way, shape, or form. It's more of a case of that it is, I keep finding new ways and crazy ways to do things. So now, what happens if you have iOS? It's still going to be able to receive the transaction. You will see it there in the wallet. Now, the problem is, if you send DigiByte, you might run into trouble. It might end up burning the asset. So I will explain a little bit about that. Let me quickly see what we've got here. Okay. Stream health is good. Just checking on a couple of things. This is cool. So I'll explain a little bit about why this is specifically for Android. But what I might actually try and do is try and get the ability for me to send this from the computer here. So bear with me just a moment. I'm going to see if I can bring some stuff up. That's not what I want. This is the one that I want. Got it. Makes sense. Make a wallet. Okay. So, I understand. Yep, skip. One of the other things that I want to show you is a pre-release version. I can see, is that Batir here, who's helping approve all of these? Oh, fun times. There's going to be a lot of copying and pasting for me to do, but we'll work on it. So one of the other things, though, so we're working on adding support in DigiByte Go. So if I bring this up here, I'll show you what it looks like. This is an early kind of preview of what the DigiByte Go wallet now looks like. So one of our core developers has been updating the theme of it, so now it looks very similar to Android and iOS, the same kind of style and the likes. So it's starting to look really slick. Now this is going to be a really cool, I suppose, stepping stone while iOS is being worked on, while other wallets are adding support. For example, we've approached the likes of Koinomi, Trezor, Ledger. We've asked a bunch of different people if they can add support. A lot of them are actually pretty keen, which is quite cool to see. But it's going to take a little bit of time. So on Android, if I bring up my mobile wallet here, I will hold this up to the screen, and let's hope this shows up all right, because I hate doing this, but whatever. So on the Android app here, we can see at the bottom, I've got my three little buttons. I've got one for plus, which is my normal send and receive. I've got a DigiID button, and I've also got the DigiAssets now. So what happens with DigiAssets is it will then pop out the side here, and it's refreshing. I've just told it, give me 1 second actually, let me bring this up here. And basically what will happen is it's going to bring up the list of all of your DigiAssets there. You're going to see them start to scroll down there. I have quite a few. And so if you have the DigiAssets button, the idea is that your wallet supports DigiAssets, and we want to kind of go with that sort of a mantra, really. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and send myself some DigiByte here, and then I'll see if I can send the DigiAssets through to it. So I'm not doing this from my mobile wallet, because otherwise that's going to really suck for me doing a lot of copying and pasting. There we go. Let's send. Sorry, give me 1 moment here. Hopefully this won't take me too long. Why am I going to scan the QR code? That's all right, I'll send it to myself. Let's do it this way. So, if you do have any, I can see we've got, oh man, I might have underestimated just how many people we're going to have asking for DigiAssets. So, if you do have any questions, pop them in the comments there. Hopefully I'll try and get to them as they kind of scroll past at a decent speed here and amongst all of the other addresses and things. If I miss it, I'm sorry, it's not intentional. Ask it again after a couple of minutes and hopefully I will see it. Let me get this going on PC here so that we can start churning through these, and I'll go through some of the behind the scenes stuff about what goes into an asset. Actually, I tell you what, let me bring this up. Let's play Water DigiAssets just while I'm sending myself some
DigiAssets? DigiAssets are digital representations of a real-world asset that are tradable but cannot be duplicated or counterfeited. Anything could be a DigiAsset. How about tickets to your local basketball game? Of course. What about kickstarting a business idea with shares in a company? Absolutely. The latest crypto pets? Property titles? In-game currencies? Virtual trading cards? Yes, you can. With DigiAssets, you can easily create tokens, assets, and more, all backed by the rock-solid security of the DigiByte blockchain. Best of all, in addition to sending and receiving DigiAssets directly from your DigiByte mobile wallet, you can also create them from your mobile as well. DigiAssets is powered by the DGB blockchain. DigiByte. Faster, more secure, forward-thinking.
Cool, so that's a really awesome video there by Amon King. He runs the DigiByte Unlimited network, and he's been doing a whole bunch of real cool videos like that. So, what I should have is, I've received some assets. Now, this doesn't look like an asset. It looks like actually let me get up close, 0.000006 of a DigiByte. Like that's not a lot of DigiByte. But what happens is when you receive a DigiAsset or a collection of DigiAssets, it associates them with a UTXO. So what I'll do, actually, let me bring this up here. Let's go to the Digi Explorer. Let's bring this up. Actually, I don't like how that one looks. Let's go here instead. Hey, it looks pretty. So this is what we're trying to do and why we're trying to make Go a similar sort of theme there. So what I'll do, let's quickly bring up this address I've just sent it to. Alright, so we can see 10 DigiByte and we have a DigiAsset here. Now, I will go through and I'll explain this a little bit more soon. It would be great if we have the technology. I want to move myself up there. Wow, that's amazing. So, what happens is we send the DigiByte. The output contains the following DigiAssets. So it contains 15,000 of these. I've just sent 15,000 through to myself. Now, we've also got an output address here, but these 15,000 DigiAssets that I've just sent, which are we'll call them my first DigiAsset. These DigiAssets are associated with this UTXO. So this is part of the way that the DigiByte blockchain specifically works, the same as, say, for example, Bitcoin and Litecoin. So the UTXO model basically takes a bunch of inputs and makes a bunch of outputs from it. Some of it's going to be a change address, some of it's going to go to your destination. It's just the way that the blockchain works. Anyway, so these are associated, these assets are linked at the moment with this UTXO here, and the U basically means the output is unspent. So every time you send a DigiAsset, it basically gets held up, I suppose, with 0.000006 of a DigiByte. So if you can imagine, there are several million different DigiAssets flying around, several million different users, all sending them with little bits. They're basically keeping tiny little bits of DigiByte all locked up while they do it. Well, this is so that they can later on be respent and sent. Now, it's worth also noting that this is not a lot of DigiByte, but it's got to be there, because otherwise, what happens? Say, for example, with the iOS app at the moment, when you if you were to receive it, you'll actually, I'll bring over this. Let me bring this over. So if you were to receive it on the iOS app, it'll basically look like this. You would have received that additional transaction there. Now, when you go and you then subsequently spend and you send your DigiAssets or your DigiByte even, because the iOS wallet at the moment, or say for example like EdgeSecure or something like that, all of the Garda wallet, because they don't know that this particular UTXO has a DigiAsset like this one down here associated with it, what it's going to do is it's going to gather them, which we can see over here. I've got a bunch of different inputs. They've all been gathered up. Now, it will then send that UTXO and effectively burn the DigiAsset. So that's why there's, I'm not recommending that people get this sent to their iOS wallet. I got asked on Twitter though, could I give you an iOS address and receive it and just not send any transactions from iOS? Yeah, you could do that. So I don't know when support will be out. It could be a day, it could be a week, it could be a month. But if you didn't need to actually send anything from your wallet, if you're just sitting there and you're holding it and you like the looks of it and you want to keep it, then yeah, absolutely, you can send an address from your iOS wallet, because we know for sure DigiAsset support is coming. We don't know for sure what other wallets DigiAsset support is coming to. So this is kind of why I'm putting that disclaimer in there. Now, we know that DigiAsset support is going to be coming to the DigiByte Go wallet as well. So if you have a Go wallet and you are interested in receiving a DigiAsset, again, same deal, send me an address, post it in the chat. Now, what I should probably do is start away at the top here. Yeah, so these are not for DigiBytes. This is just a collectible. I'm not going to be sending people any DigiByte today. If you're here for DigiByte, I'm terribly sorry, you're in the wrong place. I don't give away DigiByte. I am going to be giving away DigiAssets. These are collectibles, and I think this is pretty cool. They are... Well, I tell you what I'll do. Let's actually bring this up. So this is what you will see when you load it up in your wallet. So this is the asset page here. There's a whole bunch of information. It's just clipping off the edge of the screen there. That's kind of unfortunate. And my picture's in front of the logo, so let me bring this. Oh man, Let me bring this down. Here we go. Now you can see the logo. So this is one of the cool things that Noah's recently added support for over the last week. So let me quickly, I'll switch back to the changelog here for Android. So this is the really big release that we had just after AutoCrypt. Massive release. He's done so much. It's so cool to see. But he didn't stop there. We've had basically every other day a new release since. And there's another release that's going out today with an additional fix. Yeah, he's just been on an absolute freaking roll with this stuff. So it's so cool to see. But anyway, so back to the asset here. So this is going to be my first DigiAsset. And I'm going to send this to, I'll basically start at the top and I'll just kind of work my way down. Now, if you get the asset, maybe chuck something in the chats, tell me what you think of it. I know it's going to be a lot smaller on your phone. So this is one of the things that we're looking to do a showcase for. So when you receive it, you'll say my first DigiAsset. You've got this description in here, and you've also got this really cool picture of a rocket ship. Read into it what you will. But you can see here, this is the asset ID, the issuer, and this is a locked asset. Maybe I'll scroll across just a smidge here. Now, it's a locked asset, which means it is not going to it's not ever able to be reissued or edited, anything like that. So the supply, the total supply here of 150,000, that's the maximum supply. Nobody can ever create more. Now, because it's a locked asset, it starts up here with a capital L. If it were an unlocked asset, which meant that you could reissue more and add more and add more, like, for example, the US dollar or Tether, something along those lines, it would have a U instead. So we have the description here. Congratulations, this is your first DigiAsset. This is a limited edition collectible with a special animation. But other DigiAssets could be concert tickets, season sporting passes, in-game currencies, coffee loyalty points, company shares, and more. So we've already started to see a bunch of these things happening, which is really cool. So what I should do, actually, let me bring this up, and I need to start issuing these and sending them. We're never actually going to get to send them anywhere. So you'll have to excuse me. You'll likely hear my keyboard tapping away as I go through and try and do all of these. Let's hope this starts transferring where I'm going to be. Up Schitt's Creek. I've received it. Can I transfer it? Transfer. Oh, I've only got the earlier version here at home. Oh, this could be painful. Let's have a look. Let me quickly check my settings here. Sorry. I think I've only got the older version. At home. Yep. Go GWS. Damn, this is going to make my life real difficult if I'm doing this from mobile. Yep, transfer button's not happy. Okay. So I'm doing this from mobile. This is going to be really painful, but let's see how this goes. Actually, can I bring this up on YouTube here on my phone? Bear with me for a moment. So let's have a quick look here. I should skim through the chat really quickly. Grabbing a beer is 2200 local time. Nice. Sweet Pea. So this is Jim. Jim, you're Sweet Pea from Twitter. I think I actually sent you something earlier this morning because I kind of woke up and saw your message. Let me have a look here. Let's have a quick look here. We're quickly going through the chat logs. iOS here. Yep, we've talked a little bit about that. I've got a bunch of addresses. Woohoo! Just a few. DigiByte is the best crypto out there by far. Thanks, computer guy Patrick. Let's keep going down. My wallet doesn't have 3 buttons at the bottom. Xavier, are you on Android? If you are on Android, then you will need to update. You should have 3 at the bottom there. Let's keep going down. You're on iOS. Right, that's why. So it's not currently on iOS. That's why. Whew. There's a lot of chat messages here. It would be great if you could get the address in one sending. Yep. So one of the things I'm actually working on, so you've kind of alluded to it a little bit there, scripts kind of, it would be cool if you could group up the addresses in one send, dividing the total. Well, that's one of the things that we're working on. And actually so what I've done personally is I've had to go to the bank and actually take out a small loan, and I'm working on a DigiAssets issuance website. Now, one of the things that you will be able to do with this is take a group of addresses and take a group of values in terms of like how much you want to send them. So let's say you get 2 and I send Noah 10, for example, 10 of these one DigiAsset. It's going to let you go through and just upload like a spreadsheet, a CSV file that you'd export from, say, Excel or Google Sheets or something like that. And that will allow you to really easily bulk send a bunch of DigiByte. Sorry, not DigiByte, DigiAssets to different people. I'll keep skimming down here. Bit of price talk, crypto mugs, DigiAsset. Yeah, I've actually already talked with them. Unfortunately, they both use iOS. So we'll work on that. Anyway, let me bring this up here. Let's turn down my volume so you don't have to listen to me twice. Is this going to work? Can I copy from mobile? I can't copy from mobile. That's not going to be fun. Okay. Well, I tell you what I'll do. Let me let's go to the top of the chat. Let's start grabbing these, and I'll put them all into a notepad because this might make my life a little bit easier. So if I can go in here, let's go copy. And let's get some assets sent out to some people. Maybe what would actually be really cool is if you started sending assets to each other as well. How awesome would that be? Jeepers, there's a lot of addresses in here. I'm such a sucker for punishment. But that's why we're here, because we all want DigiAssets. And we want to try it out, and I had a feeling something like this might happen with trying to send them all, but that's okay. Alright, let's see what we've got here. So what time zone is it for everybody? Because at the moment, so it's 9:30 here in New Zealand, and I know that we've got a bunch of people we've got some from America, we've got some from Europe, we've got some from Asia. What time zones is it for people? Because I was trying to gauge what it would be like for when I should do live streams like in the future and things. I don't know if this is a decent compromise time-wise. I know it's really, really late in Europe. It's Friday afternoon, I think, in most of America. Let me have a quick look here. What else we got? Oh, shit, that's a lot of addresses. So if I was really clever, what I would have done is got somebody else to help send these through in advance. I wasn't quite expecting this many people, but this is cool to see. So let's get some sent out. Some of you are putting them in there twice. I can see you putting them in the chat twice. Okay. Some of you are giving me different addresses. There's plenty to go around for now, so that's okay. Alright, I have a buttload of addresses. I'm going to start this. Damn, this is going to be painful. Let me just catch up. Jim, I love you. You're the man. Thanks! Ah, appreciate it. Brad Fraser has a whole lot of DigiByte. I actually saw your tweet earlier today. I think Just Good Stuff retweeted it. Trying to get 1 million. Nice, man. You've already got like twice as much as I do, so good job. Like, that's freaking awesome. I wish I had more money to buy it, but instead, I borrowed money from the bank to make a DigiAssets website. So, shit, I hope this ends up paying off for me. Alright, let's have a look. Hey, we got Mike here as well. All right, cool. I'm skimming down, trying to get everybody's addresses. It's good to see a whole lot of familiar faces in here as well. This is really cool. Xavier, I swear you've sent more than one address. David's asking, am I going to become Brave verified and receive Brave BAT donations? I don't know. I've not actually used Brave myself. Okay. Ah, shit, that's a lot of addresses. I've not actually used Brave. I know it's based on Chrome. And I don't know how well that's going to work out for me in terms of receiving donations. Don't know. Might not hurt. How about DigiByte donations? Yeah, that's actually a really good question. I've never actually wanted donations. I kind of like the ability to say that I'm not doing this to be paid. Now, I know that sounds really fucking pretentious, but I don't really care. I like the fact that nobody can say that I'm bought and paid for, or that I'm doing it for just to get, you know, donations from Brave or whatever. Actually, I do get ads from YouTube, so that's kind of cool. But let me see. Yeah, it's a thought. I tell you what, let me start getting some DigiAssets in. I'll come back to that one later on. Because okay, so just for people's sake, to see what I'm gonna have to go and battle through now, I have a whole page full. Ah, shit, this isn't gonna work very well, is it? It's alright, we're gonna do it. Let's try sending some DigiAssets. And I do apologize if you can hear my bird in the background here. So it's 9:30, and we have a male and a female Indian ringneck. The female's a bit grumpy. She is very noisy, and I can see my mic bouncing up and down here. You can probably hear her in the background. So what we'll do is, let me find my DigiAssets, because I've got to get rid of some of these. I have too many. Let's send a couple of these out. The problem is as well, this is going to be... Let's have a look. Okay, so getting a few more here. Someone's posting a SigWit address. Human mail? That address isn't gonna work. I know because I've been working with Noah on PIC32 support on mobile. So you've sent me an address starting with a capital S. That's not an Android address. It is, but here, I knew you were in here. You've been approving the messages. Thanks, man. Okay, so what I need to do is send some of these assets somewhere else. Give me a second here. Alright, let's have a look. I have way too many assets. Alright. Tell you what, Mike, you're about to receive a couple of assets. Let's start getting some out to people. So, if you can sing out in the chat once you've got them, I'm going to go and get rid of some of these. Yeah, send 42. That's one of the things that we need. We need a send max button for DigiAssets. We don't have a send maximum button at the moment. That would be handy. Oh man, the addresses keep coming in. What have I got myself into? I should have known that would happen. That's okay. I'm gonna send a bunch of these on, so we'll go send, paste. 1476. Okay. Can we keep the chat clear and more related to the subject? George, yeah, kind of, but fuck it, why not? If you guys want to talk about how things are going or about Antim-ID, then go wild, why not? DigiByte is getting implemented in major corporations as we speak, and once it catches on, it'll be like wildfire. Yeah, so, I mean, one of the things, so this, let me see if I actually got this. I do. So one of the things that I put in here is that there are a bunch of different uses for it, a bunch of different things that you could use. Hang on, I need to start getting some of these out the door. Bear with me. Paste 20999.051. Send. So that I can see this easier. Nice. So the app has come through. Yeah, so the app up. So I've got a friend of mine who's been helping me with the DigiAssets website that I've been making. We tested it. We made some DigiAssets. He received them, but they didn't show up in the side column there for DigiAssets. So we could see the transaction coming in, but it wasn't showing. Now, so we sent a message off to Noah last night. And Noah's already, I've gone and done a bit of troubleshooting with him. He's already pushed an update out, which fixes the issue. And like the dude is an absolute machine. He's incredible. So thank you for all that you do there. And I'm sorry to Mike. I'm just going to spam you with a couple of these just to get them out of my wallet right now. Because unfortunately, we don't have a burn function yet. And I've got about a dozen down the side here in my app, and it's just making life a little bit fun trying to see all of these and send them. Okay. All right. Is it on iPhone? So, Mr. Cotton, unfortunately, it's not on iOS yet. This is, sorry, I just need to drink some tea. I'm feeling really dehydrated, very under the weather here. This is currently only on the Android. It is coming soon to DigiByte Go. Actually, I'll bring this up and show this here as well. So this is on screen again. This is the DigiByte Go wallet. But unfortunately, I'm using kind of pre-beta stuff at the moment. It's being worked on. And it is a work in progress. So it's coming to DigiByte Go. It is coming to iOS, but it's not quite ready yet. Let me see. Okay. Just so I make more videos on how to help the DigiByte community, like which programming language should my two teenagers learn they can help? That's a really good question, Will. What two programming languages should they learn? It kind of depends. Like, let's be honest, if you got, let's say you got two teenagers, and they both really like making games, if you go and you get them to learn Python, or if you get them to learn C, they might not have as much fun as if they'd just gone and learned to program for Android or iOS. It's kind of like what excites them? Do they want to make mobile games, or do they want to, like, maybe they already know Java, and if they already know Java, then they could start on Android. There's a bunch of different options, so let's have a look here. Oh, nice. Noah's just messaged me. He's fixed another two things as well. Wow, nice. Okay. So I have a bunch of addresses here, and this is about to be really painful going through and sending to them all, but I'm going to work on it. So as you start receiving these DigiAssets, put a message in the chat and say hi. Tell us that you've received them. Send, paste. Everybody's basically going to go and get 150 of them. Now, the thing with the absurdly high fee. the thing with can't be payments of less than 42. What? Let's try and send this. It's really odd. Anyway. So we've got a fee issue that we're working through at the moment where it doesn't like sending the assets every once in a blue moon. We've got some additional logging coming. I've actually just got a message here from Noah, so that's pretty cool. Where are we going with this? Let's quickly check back into the chat here. Do you want a DigiByte address? Well, I've got a lot of DigiByte addresses that I'm sending them to. But yeah, so Grand Illusion, if you paste your Android DigiByte address in here, I will do my best. So I don't think I'm going to get a chance to go through. So this live stream's already been going for like 40 minutes now. I don't think I'm going to go through all of them right now, but what I will do is finish up the live stream and then send them to people, because otherwise we could be here all day and you get to look at kind of like my forehead here while I'm looking down at the phone. And no one wants to see that because that's not cool. I'm sending some out though, so let's, as you start getting them, I don't actually know what order I've been sending these into people. So output is already spent. Let's quickly refresh this. So as you get them, put a message in the chat. That's your Atomic Wallet address. Okay, so right now this will only work on DigiByte for Android. If you have Atomic Wallet, if you've got Garda Wallet, if you've got Koinomi, if you've got Trezor, if you've got Ledger, if you've got Go, if you've got iOS, if you've got BitFi, DigiAssets does not yet work for you. It will come to most of those, hopefully. We're gonna see. This is basically a really early look at this, obviously, for people. We've only just released support for DigiAssets on Android in the last week. So, come on. You're a sin fail. The problem as well is there's been internet issues here in New Zealand. So to be honest, I'm actually really freaking surprised that the stream is even working right now, because last night there were major issues, like we couldn't use Google Home, we couldn't use Sheets, we couldn't use YouTube, we couldn't use a bunch of different things. Hey, Rudy's here! I thought you would have been asleep by now, mate, because it's late for you. Good to see you. Thanks for dropping by. But yeah, so last night I was kind of really worried because aside from the fact that I had, I started coming down with a cold, you can potentially hear I'm sounding a little bit congested. Whole lot of fun. But anyway, yeah, like YouTube and a bunch of other stuff in New Zealand like stopped working. So just to give you a bit of example, I'm out in the garage working on brewing beer, and we're gonna sidetrack a little bit while I'm trying to multitask and send these to people. And so what we do is we take our specific gravity reading so we can tell the alcohol content of the beer that we make. Now we write these down on Google Sheets. That sucks because Google was down. So I went to send a message to a mate of mine and go, hey, is Google down for you? But I sent it to him through Google Hangouts, so that sucked. So I was like, okay, what I'll do instead is let's just play some music and we'll carry on working away. Tried to cast some music. That didn't work either because I used Google Play Music. So I was like, I know, I'll just fire up YouTube instead, and we'll play some music from YouTube. That didn't work either. So last night was not a good night because nothing worked, and I was genuinely concerned that this morning we were going to run into fun with the asset issuance here and sending and receiving, and we kind of have, but we will see. So if I go send, why is this not sending? So these internet issues are still unfortunately affecting a lot of New Zealand right now. I think it's something to do with the Southern Cross cable connecting Auckland to Sydney, but I could be wrong. I think I've actually just sent somebody an asset twice here. So, we have covered off a couple of things though, and I don't want to go on forever. So I will go through and send everybody these assets. We've got the chat. The chat will stay here. People can see the chat afterwards, and I can see the chat more specifically. so I can go through and send these assets to you after the live stream is finished. But what other sort of questions do people have about DigiAssets? So in here we've mentioned a bunch of things. So we've mentioned they could be concert tickets, they could be season passes, they could be in-game currencies, they could be coffee card loyalty points. I'll tell you what, so maybe what I'll do is I'll send these, we've got a bunch of addresses, I'll finish this up and I'll go through and send them so you're not all like looking at me down at my phone and things. Okay, Mike G, good question. How do I create an asset? So, number 1, be a programmer. Number 2, program a whole bunch of stuff. And number 3, you can issue an asset just like you would if you were doing this on Ethereum. That sucks, and it's a pain. No one wants to have to do that. So what we're doing is we are making it easier in a bunch of ways. So we've got a couple of things to obviously work through in terms of how we do it, but one of the things that we're doing is like I mentioned, so I've taken out a small bank loan so I can go and create a website that will make it super easy for people to issue these assets. The website's not quite ready yet. It's getting there. It's really close. I was kind of hoping it would be ready to roll today, but it will be soon. Now, using this website, basically what you can do is you can go and you sign in with DigiID. So this is going to be really cool because you're going to have like the whole package as well. So you'll sign in with DigiID. There won't be any kind of like registration, like sign up and put in your email and all of this other jazz because we don't want that. We don't care about that. You just want to issue an asset and we don't need to know a whole bunch of information about you. George, you actually took out a loan for this. Yeah, I actually took out a loan for this Create DigiAssets website. So yeah. So with this, what happens, and Rudy's asked, how do we avoid spamming? Will there be a small cost for issuance? Yeah, so specifically with this website that I've created at the moment, what happens is you sign in with DigiID, and it goes, hi, I've noticed that you're new here, and you need to basically top up your account with 500 DigiByte. Now, I've just kind of plucked 500 DigiByte out of the air because it's worth about $5. And I thought, you know what, $5, I'm going to need like 1,000 something people to create an asset through there before I even break even with this website. But I mean, $5 is still affordable, and if people want to play around with it and issue their own asset and stuff, I sort of thought, you know what, $5. We'll start with that, and we'll see. That can be moved up or down depending on a bunch of things, but 500 DigiByte for now is what I've set it to personally for this website for myself. Now, on an underlying network protocol layer, there's no additional fee. So it's only the fee that goes to the miners both when you create the asset and your creation transaction, and also later on when you send the assets out to, let's say, 1,000 people. Now, how do we avoid spamming? That's a really good question. One of the ways that we're looking at doing it is requiring what is effectively like a whitelist. So before you can receive an asset from me, you have to maybe scan a QR code which includes, say for example, this asset ID. And it would add it to like a whitelist within your app, and your app will then basically go, okay, I've got this asset ID, and I'm going to then allow it to be shown in the app. If you were to receive to an address a DigiAsset that you haven't got your asset ID whitelisted for, it would basically just not show it to you. Now, the reason that we want to do this is because we don't want spam. Now, if you have a look at Ravencoin, for example, and I'm not meaning to shit on them or anything, but they're a really good example of what we don't want to happen. Now, the reason that this has happened for them is because they have no spam management or anything. So they have a bunch of things like fake pharmacy, buy Viagra, like all of these deep fake porn videos and things like that, just getting sent to just random people. And so in your like core Raven wallet, you've got all these strange ass assets showing up and stuff. So that's something that we want to avoid, obviously. So yeah, that's but on an underlying kind of protocol layer at the moment, there is no fee. So what we will probably find is that when people do issuance, there will be some kind of a fee to help maintain the infrastructure required to do this on the second layer on top of it. So in my case, the 500 DigiByte fee is basically going to be going back to trying to repay the bank loan. And we might find in other cases that people might ask for a small fee to do certain things as well. So these fees might also then go towards a bunch of stuff. They might go towards partly the miners. They might go partly towards server costs. They might partly go towards new features that people are putting into these other third-party wallets and the like. So I would personally expect to see a bit of a fee when you are issuing DigiAssets that goes to whoever the wallet owner is. Anybody can issue them though. So actually what I will do is let's quickly bring this up and I'll show you if I can find where it is. Yeah, this one. This is the DigiAssets protocol specification. Anybody can, hey, a fellow Kiwi, nice to see you, Kurt. Anybody can go in here and read through this and work through it actually. So why don't we go, let's go have a quick look at, asset ID. It talks about all of this stuff here, unlocked asset IDs, locked asset IDs. If you can go through and understand this, this is very similar to like with Ethereum and Solidity programming, for example. So I know that Forrest, who runs the Hashoshi crypto channel, has also just recently done this is how you program on Ethereum. Anybody can go through and do this, and you can issue a DigiAsset for free. But I have a feeling that what we're going to see is like a small fee. Like maybe some people only ask for like 1 DigiByte when you issue an asset. I don't know, but I'm kind of putting it out there so you get thinking a little bit about it, and you get, I suppose, to help understand why it happens like this. So George is tired and going to bed. Cool, mate. Hey, look, if I haven't already sent you the asset, because I have a huge list, it'll probably be there when you wake up, man. So yeah, I want people to kind of understand what goes into it and why there would be a fee and that sort of jazz as well. Hey, Rod showed up here. Nice to see you, mate. Rod is one of my friends in real life who's been helping out with testing it. He's also provided some feedback on the app. Noah has just pushed an update overnight to fix one of the issues that we've come across, so that's super cool to see. He's got a DigiAssets there in his wallet as well, so have a humble brag there, mate. So there is a lot that's going to go into DigiAssets, and actually what we'll do, let's quickly switch back. This is some of the stuff that I wanted to talk about with people as well. So DigiAssets could be concert tickets. So say, for example, like you're going to go to like an Ed Sheeran concert. Ed Sheeran concert tickets could be DigiAssets that Ed Sheeran could issue on the DigiByte blockchain. Everybody gets sent them. So say, for example, he could issue them with this creation website that I'm working on, send them out to everybody, and he could use these DigiAssets to basically stop ticket scalping. Because it's all on the blockchain here, so what we can see is we can see who has assets, and if they've been resent and things, you can eliminate ticket scalping. So concert tickets, season sporting passes, things like that. If you as the vendor, like say for example Ed Sheeran and his concerts, if he decides that he doesn't want to allow ticket scalping, the way that he would do that is he'd basically just say, look, once I've issued the assets to you, you can't send them to anybody. If you send them to somebody, we can see on the blockchain they've gone from A to B, and we're not going to accept them. And that's it. So you would basically show up at the gate, for example, you're at a stadium, you're trying to get into the concert, you hold up your phone, you go to scan it and send it, and maybe at the gate, and instead like on the tablet, whatever, it flashes up and bright red and goes, sorry, this is a DigiAsset that has been sent on to somebody else, and then sent on to somebody else, and then sent on to somebody else, and sent on to you. They can check that kind of thing and basically go, well, look, you've potentially bought a scalped ticket. We don't allow scalped tickets. Sorry, you're not allowed into the concert. Now, that's obviously going to suck if you have bought a scalped ticket, but it also eliminates it. And it eliminates the ability for people to go and artificially inflate ticket prices and things like that. But you could also do things like, say, for example, season passes. Like, let's say you've got a favorite basketball team, and maybe the NBA goes and they issues these tickets, and they're a bunch of different sporting passes, and your team gets knocked out of the season or something along those lines. You could still then sell your season pass to somebody who's supporting another team who's still playing, or something like that. In-game currencies is a good one, certainly for like mobile games and the likes. You could issue a currency. Or even like let's say for example Fortnite and their Fort, what do they call them, like Fort Bucks or something? Or DigiBucks, I don't know what they're called. What are they called? Someone in the chat will tell me in a second. So these Fortnite dollars, you could have these as a DigiAsset. Now say for example V-Bucks, thank you Christian, they're V-Bucks, okay. So take these V-Bucks, instead of them just being like a centrally controlled asset that's in their database, imagine now if you could go and you could buy these on Vertbase. Or you could go and you could buy these on Bittrex, for example. And the market themselves can dictate like the value of them and the price of them. Now it gets really cool as well because you can do things and you can earn them inside of the game, and you can then take them and you can go and you can sell them on the open market. Now that makes life really interesting if you're a professional. Like let's say for example you're a professional player and you play a lot, and in game you get rewarded, and they, like let's say you finish first in the game and they give you 10 V-Bucks or something like that. Now all of a sudden, as a semi-professional player, because you can take those 10 V-Bucks and you can win another game, and maybe you come second the next time, you could take them and you could go to then like Bittrex, for example, and sell them on the open market and actually make a living off of playing video games without just having to enter into these large tournaments and things. So there's a whole lot of really complex things that go on behind the scenes there in terms of what this could mean for competitive esports, or even just casual like players. Like let's say for example with Farmville, or let's just say for Farmville, imagine instead of going to buy them all centrally, you were able to go to a third-party website and buy them on the open market and things like that. There's the mind boggles at the possibilities for it. Another really cool one would be coffee loyalty points. So with coffee loyalty points, let's say you go to Starbucks. They give you like, I don't know how it is in the States, but over here in New Zealand, they'll either like stamp it and they'll sign it. Or some places like McDonald's will actually have like a specific hole punch. So you've got your card and they'll punch it with a specific cutout, I suppose. Now imagine instead of getting that, like over here in New Zealand, anybody can go and just get a stamp. Most of the time they're just like smiley faces. It's stupid, but whatever. Imagine instead of getting these cards and people just being able to go and stamp them themselves, if these DigiAssets come from the company. Like, so imagine Starbucks issues, I don't know, like 1 million of these DigiAsset tokens. And every time you go, you get a coffee. Yeah, stamps like at the kebab stores. Imagine you go and you get a coffee from Starbucks and they send you a DigiAsset. So you, like let's say there's a tablet there and you scan the QR code, they send you the DigiAsset, and you've now got an additional 1 Starbucks coffee card point. You get 9 of them, you get 10 of them, maybe, let's say you get 10 of them, and then your 11th one is free. I don't know how it is in the States, whatever, or Europe even, actually, because Starbucks is everywhere, aren't they? Anyway, so let's say you get 10 of them, and you then send them back to them. So you show up the next day, and you want your morning coffee, but instead of paying with cash or with DigiByte, you send them back these DigiAssets, and they reward you, and you get a free coffee by sending those 10 back to them. Curtis asked if gift cards would be another option. Yeah, absolutely. Gift cards would be perfect, because let's say, for example, so over here in New Zealand, we've got Westfield. So Westfield are a shopping mall for people who aren't familiar with it from other parts of the world. Let's say, for example, Westfield shopping malls were to issue these gift cards with DigiAssets. They go out and they issue like 1 million of these points, and so what would happen is you go there and you buy $50 worth, and you're going to give it to a family member maybe, or a friend for their birthday. So $50 of these gift cards. They send you maybe 5,000 of them because each one is worth a cent, for example. And what you could do then is, when you're paying for things at these Westfield shopping malls, send the DigiAsset back to them, and that acts as a gift card. And those shops could all then accept these DigiAssets back and know that they can take those DigiAssets and get it redeemed for cash later on from Westfield as a whole. Company shares is another one. So although Hellas they're not specifically offering shares, they're in the company, they are offering those shares in the insurance scheme that they've got. So I'm not too sure of the specifics there, but yeah, like let's say for example Apple Apple goes and they take, like they have billions of shares, I think, but if they take their billions of shares and they issue an asset for each of them, imagine instead of them taking those shares and having to find your address and send them to you, send you the dividends from their annual earnings and the likes. Imagine instead if they simply sent DigiByte to your DigiByte address that held it. Now, let's say, for example, recently my father's passed away. Imagine he had some of these Apple shares in his DigiByte wallet. What we could do as part of him passing away, we could send those shares to my mom's wallet, and then automatically when the annual dividends get sent out by Apple, or quarterly, however it works, they would then know, well, those those shares have been sent somewhere else, so instead we will send these dividends using DigiByte to this other address that now controls that additional shares. So there's heaps of really cool things there as well that we can do in terms of company shares. I was even talking with a friend, and she goes to an Alcoholics Anonymous kind of thing. We could even do those kind of like badges that they get as a DigiAsset. So you could have like I've been sober for a week, I've been sober for a month, I've been sober for a year kind of DigiAsset badges that you could have as well. Now, the reason that you could do that on your phone, which would be really cool, is because you could actually, we want to work on a showcase kind of like picture like a trophy cabinet kind of model, where you can hold up your coolest DigiAssets and like show them to friends or something like that. Or like, say for example, if you're going to AA and let's say you've been sober now for a month, you could have that and put it in your trophy cabinet, as it were, inside of your application, your DigiByte app, to be able to say, yeah, I've done this. I'm a month sober now, and I've got the DigiAsset. I've been sent it to prove it. So you could do some really cool stuff like that as well. Or maybe we're doing like trading cards. So for example, Pokemon trading cards. Maybe instead of Charizard being the most one of the more valued trading cards, instead of having it as like a bit of like a trading card which can have foxing around the edges and it starts to deteriorate over time. Imagine if you've got it in your application instead, and you can go there and you can see your, you can talk with your friends and show it off to them, and it's just inside your phone. You've got it with you at all times, and you don't have to worry about it being chucked in your backpack and getting bent and crumpled and things like that, because it's a digital trading card. So there's some real cool stuff like that as well that's going to happen. Rudy does need sleep. Yeah, cool. Hey, thanks for dropping by, man. It was good to see you here. David's asked, how will cryptocurrencies like DigiByte manage a threat from quantum computers? We'll know that once we have quantum computers. The theory is that if you don't reuse an address, you're going to be in a better position. But yeah, we don't know enough about how quantum computers are going to work. Like, these might not be a threat for another like decade, 100 years, who knows. Fluffy Pony, actually, who's one of the kids of Monero, wrote some really interesting stuff about it. Go look that up. I'll see if I can find some more details. So if we have a look here, how great would it be for the Boy Scouts computing badge to be a DigiAsset? Yeah, man, like, imagine, that would be freaking cool, right? Like, the Boy Scouts issue a bunch of these computing badges, or maybe they issue like a cryptocurrency related badge. So I remember I used to go to Boys Brigade myself. It wasn't Boy Scouts, but it's kind of similar. Actually, Boy Scouts bridged off of Boys Brigade originally. Just a little bit of history there for you. Now, imagine instead of going and getting like a camping badge or a rope, like knot tying badge, or a drumming badge, or a camping badge, if you were able to get your cryptocurrency related badge and keep it as a DigiAsset and keep it in your DigiByte wallet, like, how awesome would that be? So yeah, look, so we've been going now for about an hour. I'm aware that I've only sent like a very small handful of these off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go away now, and it's going to take me a bit of time because there are so many that have come through, which is really awesome to see. I love the enthusiasm for people here. I'm glad you're all as excited about this as I am, because like this, the problem with Ethereum right now is they're the main one that uses assets and the likes. So when you issue tokens and ICOs and things like that, they're limited to 17 transactions a second, give or take. DigiByte is not. So one of the things that we're doing is we're also looking to bring out BEC32 support and SigWit support inside the mobile apps. So we should be able to handle a good 1,000 transactions per second compared to their 17. So 17? 1,000. I know which one's going to handle the next CryptoKitties when it comes out. Or let's say, for example, let's take Litecoin, for example. They've gone their UFC partnership. Imagine instead of just having your logo on the mat, imagine now we've got people sitting and receiving DigiAssets for their favorite fighter. And they maybe, like, let's picture this, right? You're sitting there and you're at the UFC matches, right? And up on like a jumbotron above the ring, I don't know if there's jumbotrons above the ring, but just humor me. Above the ring on the jumbotron flashes up a QR code and it says scan this, and everybody who's here is going to get a unique DigiAsset for being here. You're here, you're at the matches, you're at the fights, you're watching it. And then everybody, like, so you'd hold up your phone and you scan it. Now imagine now you will get a very limited edition DigiAsset for being there at that match. Like, how cool would that be? And then so obviously somebody's going to win. You get there's a DigiAsset that's there for the winner, and maybe that's like a limited edition animated one, kind of like what we've got here with the animated rocket. Maybe it's them and they're getting their arm held up or something at the end of the match. And like, you could do so many really cool things, like with trading cards and DigiAssets, and like, it's amazing. It's amazing. Something to think about. So there's a couple more addresses that have come in, so thank you for that. What I'll do is it's going to take a bit of time for me to go through. I will send them on to people. We're going to wrap this up, though. Thank you so much, obviously, for tuning in today. This has been today's DigiByte update on DigiAssets. This is probably, this is the first time we've actually done the DigiByte update live. Somehow I've managed to make it through a whole entire month, and then some, doing one of these videos every day. I do apologize some mornings if I'm not as enthusiastic as I could be. That's usually because I'm doing them at like 8 a.m. and I'm not a morning person. I fucking hate mornings. But whatever, it's been cool to be able to look back now over the last month and see all of the progress and all of the improvement that's happened for DigiByte, like, as a whole. And I really want this to be something that we can look back on and go, you know what, like, look, we're now at DigiByte update number 582 or something like that in just over a year's time. Like, could you imagine how cool that would be to go back through them and see every single day there's been something that's been coming out about DigiByte. So that's kind of the goal. Hopefully the videos aren't too boring or too technical, but we're trying to mix it up, and we'll see how it goes. So thank you everybody so much for tuning in today. I'm sorry I haven't been able to send them live while we've been doing this. The joys of doing things live on a live stream. But I'll go and I'll get some sent out now. So feel free to tweet me. I'm at DGB_chilling. Maybe post a screenshot or something, like, when you get it. Like, how cool would that be? Start posting some screenshots and stuff once you've got your DigiAsset, and share it on Twitter. Feel free to tag me as well if you want, at DGB_chilling. Use hashtag DigiByte, tag at DigiByteCoin as well. Otherwise, if you do have any other questions, feel free to sing out in the comments section below. Give me a like and a subscribe if you've enjoyed today. Hopefully you have. And I'll get these sent out, and then I think maybe I'm going to go crash because I'm feeling pretty shattered for this cold's really starting to affect me. But we'll get there. So we'll get these DigiAssets out to everybody. Thank you everyone for tuning in. It's been awesome. Thank you for your support, and I'll talk to you in the next video. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, people. Cheers.